Hello, hello. Hi, I'm Sandra Estok, and today I want to ask you this question. Have you been part of a data breach? Do you even know what a data breach is? Let's start there. And I know it might sound very technical, but I want to unpack that because sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? So what's a data breach? Well, a data breach it's an incident, it's a situation, it's something that happened where someone stole information or took something from a system computer without the knowledge, and this is the key, without the knowledge or the authorization of the owner. It happens all the time. And sometimes we're okay with it. Most of the time we're not, because there are consequences when data breaches occur, whether they are personal consequences. But I also see in the corporate side how sometimes data breaches, might impact a company. Like in this, and I want to talk today about the worst three data breaches that have happened and what was the impact. So number one is Yahoo, and it happened in 2013. And what happened there was that Yahoo said, okay, we were hacked. We had a data breach, and 1 billion accounts were affected. And those 1 billion accounts affected, the username and the password was not impacted, but the questions, the security questions that you answer when you set up your email, those were breached. And that was what was reported. But here's the catch. Here's the thing that I was talking about, consequences. So Verizon was buying Yahoo. And as they were going through in M&A, the due diligence, that's, when you're investigating, when you're reviewing all the paperwork and all the thing that has to happen for you to acquire that company, they discovered that the data breach that they reported was so much bigger. And in fact, there was like 3 billion people affected. I mean, think about, the world has 8 billion people in total. I mean, 3 billion, just, a third of the world, almost a third, no, over a third of the world has been part of that data breach. So if you are a Yahoo account holder, you perhaps have been part of this data breach. And you might still have consequences in that Yahoo account if you have never changed your password, or if you have never if you have used that password, that username into other accounts that might affected you. I know it did affect me, and I had to change that Yahoo account that I was using at the time for my social media because it was exposed. And I just, I still see everything that comes into my Yahoo account, and I use it, as a source of phishing emails and malware because all kind of things come through that account. I know it's a really bad account for me, but it's good for my business side. It's good for me to take examples of what's going on out there, and some of the latest phishing attacks that are happening. So that's how I use it. And when I'm speaking, when I'm in a corporate engagement, or when I'm on stage and someone asks me for an example, I can have an example of what's happening right now, because I can see, what you could be receiving in your inbox. So I can relate to that to you. If you ever have an email address in your inbox, that could be an opportunity for you to teach somebody in your family. I just highly recommend you take a screenshot. Don't click, don't do anything else, but use it as a learning opportunity. So anyway, what was the consequence when Verizon was buying Google? Not Google, buying Yahoo, was that they pay less for Yahoo because of the thing that they didn't disclose everything. So that was the consequence. Now, why it happened? It happened because of encryption. So the way that the data was protected was not as strong and secure as it should have been for a company that size and with that much infrastructure, or that much importance of the information that they take care for you and me. and our email address. Now, the second biggest and worst of the data breaches that have happened, it's happened in February of 2021. That was last year only. I mean, it was still I think we were still in COVID. It's called the solar wind attack, and it happened in the US, mostly to US government agencies, but it also affected a lot of companies. And what is devastating about this one is because it was one of those first attacks where you deliver the malware or you deliver the malicious software through a process that is legit. You have seen updates in your phone and you see updates in your computer all the time. And when we are going to do an update, we don't think about, is it real? Is it fake? Is it could be, something that will affect me? We don't. I mean, we trust that the companies that are doing security, you know, reputable companies, and in this case, of course, SolarWinds it's a cybersecurity company that provides services for many companies and governments. So you won't think that the update of their software is going to carry out the attack, and that's what happened. So it's called an attack in the oh my god, supply chain. So, and it's there because now when I infect a company that many other companies are using, in reality, I'm affecting these so many more companies, not just one. So if I infect this company that has all these many customers that are going to use this software or this product or this, if I infect this one, this is the source, and I send it to all, and they send it to all of the customers. Now all the customers are infected, and I don't have to go and break into Microsoft or break into the government or break into, the many organizations that had been affected. I mean, big companies, because I just have to attack the source. So that's what happened. And when I think about and when I read about, how it happened, well, it happened because of a password. Can you believe that? I mean, yes, a password that an intern had, and it was SolarWinds123. That was the password. And that was the password that it was people were able to break in and do this massive damage. Passwords are important, and passwords are and not just random characters. Password protect things. And when we start seeing passwords as that, things will change. Now, the third larger attack happened at Target. And again, it was also one of the first attacks. It happened in 2013. And it was one of those first attacks that it wasn't Target directly that was that was affected, but it was a vendor that provided services to Target. And whether it's uh, a third party that provides a service to you, you might want to always consider that part of your program of cyber, because yes, you might protect everything, but you still have interactions with partners, and people have your data, and all of that could be, like in the case of Target, so devastating. It affected 110 million people. If you think about, in summary, what did I teach about today? So number one, that strong encryption is important. And sometimes we don't think about that as an individual, you and me, but we need that. And there are so many different ways. I mean, I wish I can tell you everything here, but there are many ways where you can encrypt your email, you can encrypt your messages, you can encrypt your information in a simple way. That means when you transfer something, it's more secure. And number two is this strong passwords. They do matter. And having two-factor authentication on top of your password, much more, because a weak password can also be not remediated, but it could be complemented. If you have a weak password but you have a strong multi-factor authentication, Not that I'm advocating for weak passwords, by no means. Have a strong password. Actually, have a password that works for you. And then the last one is, of course, the third party management, like your vendors and how you relate. Your security is important, but also the people that have access to your information, it's also that important. And it's not necessarily a company. Like, it might be like, how, if you're a small business, who has access to your information, who has access to your social security information, who has access to your business critical information. Find out that. And lastly, education. I mean, the more you know, the more you are aware of the basics, the more your employees, the more your family, the more yourself can take charge and protect what matters most against hackers, scammers, and cyber monsters. And there's so many things you and your family can do to protect. So I'm here for you. I am sending love. I'll see you next week. Take care and have a great week, and live happily ever cyber. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.